Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Non-Typical Nation. I'm your host, Troy Esau. On this week's episode, you'll be following me chasing mature whitetails here in my home province of Manitoba. I had a ton of content and it was hard to cram it all into one episode, so here's an action-packed episode of chasing whitetails here in Manitoba. Trail cameras absolutely were a game changer when it came to hunting mature whitetails. And now, with the introduction to cell cameras, it has changed again. That instant scouting is such a huge tool. People over at Reconico have hooked us up with some amazing cameras, and the amount of pictures that these take per battery charge is just fantastic. The service that their antennas pick up is incredible. All around great cameras, but just an absolutely huge tool to use to your advantage to make sure that you bag that target buck every fall. You can't make them make the mistake, but you can sure put yourself in the best spot possible. Cell cams have made that possible.
Non-Typical Nation is made possible by these great brands. Old Smokes Coffee. Crafted coffee for the courageous. Antler Obsession. Canada's #1 big game supplement and attractant. Tacticam. Share your hunt. Bulldog Targets. Canadian made to last a lifetime. Badlands Canada. It's all in your approach. Dave Booth Taxidermy. Northern Alberta's foremost wildlife studio. Kent Cartridge Canada. High-performance shotgun cartridges. 222 Metalworks, Reconico Outdoors, APA Archery, Black Bear Remedies, Dry Shot Canada, The Palace, Kodiak LED Lighting, Skinner Creek Hunts, Nature Fellas, Old Smokes Outdoor Adventures, Battle River Cree Outdoors, Pure Passion Outfitting, Alberta Bush Adventures. This segment is brought to you by Tacticam. Share your hunt.
So as you can tell, there's no shortage of deer around. Unfortunately, I had a really hard time finding exactly where these big mature bucks were staying. But as season progresses, I'm optimistic that I'm going to get one in the crosshairs.
It's November 7th here in southern Manitoba. Got a fresh blanket of snow last night. It's cool. It's calm finally. It's been really windy for about 3 or 4 days. So I got really high hopes for this morning. I already saw a couple of deer moving through and a coyote move through, so it's just kind of breaking light here, but fresh blanket of snow, temperatures dipping, beginning of November. Can't ask for anything better. Should be a good sit. Hopefully the big boy comes by. nice 4x4s, and then 3 little junker guys, and then there was 1 doe further back. Unreal. Unfortunately, that's almost every single buck in this bush, other than the target deer, but what an encounter. This is what I live for. What an experience. What an encounter. Gotta love it. Whitetail rut, baby. Let's go. Show me the big boy. Just had 5 coyotes come through, chasing that fawn. They were back further in the bush. I couldn't get great footage of it, but yeah, 5 coyotes after them. So, I know one thing's for sure, they got lucky this morning, because if they had to come into range with a good shot opportunity, I would have let one have it, but that's too many coyotes traveling together, too many deer killers, so if they come back, one's gonna get not so lucky, but I guess that's the reality of the food chain around here. Yes! That's what that sucker gets for wrecking my morning. 5 of them running around. Now there's 1 less. Ha! Dead coyote, baby.
Here he is. These are the repercussions for ruining my deer hunt. There was 5 of these dogs chasing around 4 or 5 does and fawns this morning. Nothing was getting settled, so do my part in some predator control, get rid of a coyote, and move on to the next deer hunt, I guess. So, but happy to get one of these out of the bush here, these fawn killers. So drag them to the truck and carry on.
This segment is brought to you by Old Smokes Coffee, crafted coffee for the courageous.
The rut is here, and man, am I ever fired up. I got a couple mature bucks on the hit list, and unfortunately I just haven't been able to connect. One reason that is these coyotes have just been ruining some of my deer hunts. So when one of them walks by, I made no mistake and took every opportunity I had.
It's November 15th here, southern Manitoba. Another beautiful, calm, snowy morning. Peak of the rut here. Bucks are moving around like crazy. Just had the first few does and fawns move through, so hopefully that brings some attention here later this morning. But what a beautiful morning to be out. Still got our fingers crossed that one of these big boys shows up this morning. So far I've been seeing lots of immature bucks, does and fawns, so sit tight and hopefully a big boy shows up this morning.
think I drilled him. Oh, that looked like a good deer. I haven't seen that deer before. But he looked like a good one. Oh. Gotta love it, baby. Manitoba rut. Bam. Well, that's disappointment at its finest. I walked over, took a look, didn't find any blood. So I rewatched the footage and I shot over top of that deer. And the only thing I can think of is that buck followed that doe directly behind me, so I had to basically turn myself at 180 degrees to shoot, and it was pretty awkward. And I obviously didn't have the gun seated on my shoulder properly. It was sitting low, so when the crosshairs looked on him, but the butt of the gun was way too low on my shoulder, so it was not sitting straight, causing the bullet to go high. Because you rewatch the footage and the bullet is quite high. So I guess he lives for another day. It's real disappointing, but it is what it is. I was talking to a buddy yesterday. He missed one the other day too. I told him not to worry about it. And I said, if you're hunting hard enough, the misses will come. Well, I guess this was my miss. Hopefully the last one this year. But that was the first one this year. Pretty good deer. Not a monster, but he was definitely a nice deer. So pretty disappointed, to say the least. But I guess we'll keep hunting hard and hopefully make some mistake again.
This segment is brought to you by Dave Booth Taxidermy, Northern Alberta's foremost wildlife studio.
As it is some way in hunting, it doesn't always go the way you planned. Unfortunately, one of the deer that I was definitely on the hit list made an appearance, and I made a mistake. And that's on me. But I'd way rather a deer running around a little bit nervous by me than a wounded deer any day. But it wasn't the exact deer that I wanted, and I know that that big deer is still running around, so let's hope that I can connect at the later part of the season.
December 2nd here, southern Manitoba. I've got about 3 days left to make this happen. Saw the target deer last night, right at last light, and he was too far and I don't camera light, so he unfortunately worked all the way across the field and basically came within about 75 to 80 yards in the dark with his doe. And I basically sat on this field edge till about half an hour after we played, maybe 45 minutes, I don't know, and I walked out. And that is the second time that I've had that happen with this deer. And at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I had conical pictures of him about 100 yards from where I'm sitting. So I got real high hopes that I'm going to see him again tonight. Unfortunately, it is really windy.
Pretty sure I corked this deer. This is the deer that we've been chasing all fall. Found this deer, it was late June, early July, and you could just tell, old, mature buck. He has been the only deer, mature deer, that I have been able to find all fall. So I have been chasing and chasing this buck. Heidi had an unreal encounter with him a few times in bow season and was never able to connect. I saw this deer, I think, probably 2 or 3 times earlier this fall. And you guys, I see him dead, laying on the other side of this fence. I cannot wait to put my hands on this deer. It is the 3rd last day of rifle season, and we've been chasing him since the 1st day of bow season. And we can finally close the chapter on this deer. I am absolutely tickled. Let's go put our hands on him. What a year, and what a deer. 2022 goes down. It's one in the books. I've never had such a year where I've had such a hard time finding mature animals as this year. This has been the target buck since beginning of July. Have piles of reconical pictures of him. Just unbelievably thankful to be able to harvest such a big old, mature whitetail. I put in a lot of time for this deer. Heidi had some unbelievable encounters, my wife, with this deer, and unfortunately wasn't able to seal the deal. And tonight it all came to a close, and I'm just unbelievably thankful. Unbelievably fired up too, don't get me wrong, because it has been a haul. Tonight I was sitting in probably 50k winds, and it was so cold, and I was so thankful for quality gear to be able to keep myself warm, keep me out here. Last night this deer came out chasing a doe 1 minute after legal light, and I didn't have any camera light to really get much of anything of him. And he eventually worked to within probably 75, 80 yards. And there's nothing more heartbreaking than that. This was the 2nd time I've had that deer within range after light. And tonight, he came out just a little bit earlier, and I was able to close the chapter on another great Manitoba whitetail.
Head on over to nontypical.org to get your Non-Typical Nation branded clothing today. And keep up with the team on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and at nontypical.org. Bulldog Targets. Easy 2-finger arrow removal, lifetime warranty, and superior stopping power. Visit BulldogTargets.com and use promo code NTN20 to save 20% off. Hunt, fish, and explore the Saskatchewan wilderness with Pure Passion Outfitting. All-inclusive bear hunting, waterfowl hunting, and jet boat fishing trips. Book now at PurePassionOutfitting.com. 222 Metalworks. Premium handcrafted metal designs. Manufactured by hunters for hunters. with pristine traditional First Nation land overlooking river bottoms, hillsides, coulees, and agriculture. Battle River Cree Outdoors specializes in Saskatchewan waterfowl and big game hunts.
If you've ever gone to the range by yourself and tried to spot your own impacts, you know what a challenge that is. Connect your Tacticam LR to your smart device, problem solved.